everyone. Good morning. Hi, Ed. Mercy. Hello, George. Hi, Dave.
All right. And we're live. And we'll be starting the business meeting in 4 minutes. Thank you so much for joining.
Recording is paused.
We don't need to record the meeting. So we can even just stop recording. Yes. All right. Wonderful. So good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my slides and we will see if you guys can see my screen. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes. All right. The business meeting will begin in 3 minutes.
But it's not in slide view, Bet.
Thank you. How about now?
Nah.
All right. We are going to start in 2 minutes.
Works for me.
So this is a live stream. If you do not wish to have your video recorded and shown to the entire world, please turn off your video. This is your only warning. In fact, I think we may have people turn off their videos. So go ahead and just turn off your video right now. Just get it out of the way.
David.
And you definitely make yourself on mute if your name is George Marshall. There we go.
Paste.
How much fun is it? Okay. All right, so Ed, it looks like we have a bunch of people in the waiting room. Do you need help to manage the waiting room?
Sorry, I was sending a email out to someone. Let's get Larry Miller in. Carolyn.
I got it. I can admit all.
Bet, can you please admit David from the waiting room?
Yes. So I don't want to admit all because there could be people who accidentally got the link. So.
Okay, she'll let you know. Bye.
Yeah, George, let me make you co-host so you can go ahead and add people. All right, we have 1 minute till we start.
Can I hear you back?
You can't hear me?
Hello? Back, can I hear you?
Okay, can everyone else hear me?
Yes.
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 All right.
Yes.
So Beck, can you assign me as a co-host?
All right. Dave, you are now co-host.
Right.
All right, guys, it is 8 a.m. Thank you all so much for joining our spring District 57 District Council meeting. I am so pleased to have you all here. And this is another one online, a Zoom meeting. And before we get started, I want to actually share a moment. I just was remembering that 3 years ago on this very business meeting day, I was a young person just thinking about running for club growth director. And there's pictures of me and it's very funny. I wore the same dress and I on purpose wore it again. And I think about my journey. I am so inspired right now, more inspired than ever for Toastmasters. So I hope you enjoyed this business meeting. Things happen. People's lives are going to be changed today. So get involved, be here, be present, really have a good time. We have a really great agenda today, and I'm thankful for my whole team. So let's get going. I'm going to now welcome our district technical host, David Dye. to get us going. David.
Thank you very much, Beth. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 2021 Annual District Council meeting. It's my pleasure to introduce our District 57 Director, distinguished Toastmaster Beth Bohofer. Let's welcome her.
Woo! Thank you so much, David. I love how the lectures are going back and forth here. All right, so the business meeting for 2021 is now coming to order. Welcome and good morning to the members of the District Council. In keeping with the Toastmasters International Policies and Procedures, the District 57 Council meets twice a year, once in the fall, which we did in September, and once in the spring. And normally we meet in person, but because of shelter in place, we are still meeting online. So we're meeting virtually, and Toastmasters actually has created the agenda or the outlines of the rules today. And one of the rules, for instance, is no proxies. So that was one of the rules that came down as part of virtual business meetings. So among other business, the District Council will elect new district officers for the 2021-2022 Toastmasters year. We will also be approving the realignment of clubs among divisions in order and areas in order to comply with Toastmasters guidelines for district organization. There's a meeting packet, which I'm going to ask now for Ed. Ed, were you able to send that out to all of our members? All of our voting members, the one that Noemi put together?
Yes, I believe I did.
Awesome. So there's a meeting packet, which actually has all the information all compiled. Thank you so much, Noemi, for pulling that together. Just make it really easy for everyone to follow along with the agenda and the documents we'll be voting on. And they also, all these documents have actually been posted on our website since April 1st, 2021. So please, if you can find those documents now, I would really appreciate it. If you do not have those documents for some reason, we can have Ed or one of his team members forward that to you, and you can use the chat. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to David Dye to talk about how this meeting is going to be run, the rules, etc. David.
As I just posted in chat, David had a power outage at his house just now.
Oh, no.
And will come back when he can, but he is not available right now.
All right. Well, then I will just use all my improv skills and do it for him. All right. So first of all, we're going to ask everyone to just turn off your videos because there's going to be a lot of different specific points of order, and just having all the videos off. I know that it's really fun to have the videos on, but we're going to just go ahead and turn them all off. And Ed, if you see anyone still with their video on, please feel free to go ahead and turn it off. And we will be addressing, like, please join, Mona or Diane. We'll call out your name when you're about to give a presentation. That will happen. Also, please rename yourself. Use the following naming convention: full name, your role, and then your club. So I would be Beth Bohofer, District Director. So go ahead and rename yourself, and this will help us when we're doing our minutes later also. So we're going to be monitoring the chat to make sure that we know if you want to speak. So please go ahead and use the chat to say you would like to ask a question or speak. So that's how we're going to do it today versus you just turning on your video and talking. We're going to have you use the chat. All right. You can go ahead and use gallery view if you want to be able to see whoever's speaking. If Diane is speaking and someone's asking a question, we would use gallery view so you can actually do that. We're going to have a lot more details on how to vote, but I just want to say a few things about voting. If you're a president or a VP or a member of the district executive committee, which means area director or division director or a trio member, finance manager, PRM, and an admin manager, you are allowed to have a vote, especially if you pre-registered by 4 p.m. I know there was a few people who registered this morning. But your vote was, you counted into quorum, which we'll go over in a little bit. And that way we have your ballot. If you did register this morning for some reason, please message Wing so that he can do validation to make sure that you can get a vote. All right, we're using Election Runner. Wayne, can you confirm that Election Runner is the system? I know you have a minute to talk about that exactly. Wayne?
I am here and I will have more on that with
Okay.
slides and whatnot to explain.
All right,
But the ballots, by the way, are available and I have received mine as well.
okay. All right, great. Okay, so we're going to go over more about how to vote in a little bit. So you're only going to allowed to have one ballot. There are unusual situations where someone's an area director, a VPE, and a president. And so they would have up to 3, but there's no one who's allowed to have more than 3, including Dennis Neary, who's a member of 5 clubs, and I think the president of all of them. All right, so we're going to be using the Election Runner or a different balloting system, which we will hear about in a moment from Wing. During the time where we count the votes, it may be necessary for us to conduct other business while the votes are being counted. So don't vote for anything else if you receive another ballot while we're waiting for another vote. All right. Thank you, David Dye. I hope your power comes back. And now I'm going to turn it back over to myself as the district director. All right. And now I am going to turn it over to Mona to talk to us about our district mission. Mona, our admin manager, please come on and speak to us.
We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Madam District Director.
Thank you, Mona. And what's amazing, and you'll hear in the reports, is we actually have built a lot of clubs this year. And now I would like to welcome, I'm going to turn off my slide share. I would like to welcome our ID candidates. So I know a lot of people are running today for different offices, but did you know that there's another level above us called the international directors, presidents? These are all people who are serving us and helping us. So I'm going to turn it over in the order of alphabetical. And so, by the way, what is going to happen is we're going to have an international convention. And at that time, VPEs and secretaries will be able to vote for your international director candidates for Region 1. So this is very important for you to listen to this 2-minute speech from each of our candidates and make a decision. So I'm now going to ask, in order of last name, Louisa Davis, Distinguished Toastmaster, to give her 2-minute speech.
Thank you, Madam District Director Bett and District 57 leaders. For over 25 years, I've served on boards at the national and international levels to solve challenges like we have at Toastmasters today. I'd like you to vote with your reaction button if you're dealing with any of these: keeping our members, growing our clubs, finding new leaders, using technology, and giving value to our members. You can see a few emoticons. My approach is to scale up the idea, collaborate beyond borders, and co-create how we can best support our clubs and motivate our people. Let's rethink how we can really help you, the leaders in our field in District 57. When Ricardo told me we only have 2 members left in our club, I said, how can I help? And a few months later, we had a Kickstarter meeting with 47 people in the room. Boom. When Marnie didn't think she could charter her club last summer because of the pandemic, we moved her club online and included all employees in North America. You know what? She chartered in August with 55 people. Boom. They're running 2 meetings a week now. And we've just heard from Beth that we're going to have a lot of announcements of new clubs that you've chartered this year as well. We need customer-focused board members, proven leaders that see the big picture and understand the emotional impact of what we've all been through this year. We need a grassroots perspective represented in the board discussions, someone who has been there recently. Last year, as District 96 Director in Vancouver, I was there on the front lines. In less than 24 hours, we pivoted online contests. We moved our clubs into Zoom and we transformed our conferences into weekly online workshops. They're still going on. We figured it all out together. Vote Louisa Davis for Region 1 International Director. Visit my website for more information, louisa4id.com. And District 57, let's talk about what is possible. Thank you.
Wow, that was exactly on time. Thank you, Louisa. And now I'd like to turn it over to Tyree Johnson, Distinguished Toastmaster.
Yes, my name's Tyree Johnson. I'm asking for your vote for Region 1 International Director. I encourage you to go to my website, tyree4id.com, so you can get a deeper insight into my accomplishments and my values, so that you can know that I've served the last 20 years with District 57 in all 3 district governor roles, as well as the presidential citation. But the question is, why am I running now? Because Toastmasters is at a crossroads. Technology, time, and trust are all under a stress test, as are your lives. And so under these unprecedented circumstances, I think that we now need to take time to really reflect on what's really important to us. What kind of membership experience do we need to have? Have you been defined by your success prior to the pandemic? Well, if so, it's time to reflect and renew what that is. Almost like a speech evaluation, an honest, constructive speech evaluation. So Toastmasters will soon be 100 years old, and some people think it's time to bury it. I think it's time for us to really renew and have a big birthday party so that we can see that now is the time for all of us to wrestle with innovative forms of communication. I have the energy to lead and the emotion to help you create and listen to what needs to happen. All these things have gone on far too long, ignored listening to your votes. So I'm asking for your vote. Go to my website, tyree4id.com. I'm available to you. I want to hear from you. Let's schedule a meeting. Vote for Tyree Johnson, Region 1 Director.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. And that ends the International Candidate Showcase. And now we move on to quorum. I would like to invite our District 57 Credentials Chair, Randy Ellington, Distinguished Director and past District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Randy Ellington, to give us a Credentials Chair update.
Thank you, Madam District Director. As you know, according to the Toastmasters International Policies and Procedures and Administrative Bylaws, a semi-annual district business meeting is comprised of 2 bodies. The District Council, which is also known as the Council of Clubs, is any club that is in good standing as of the record date. We currently have 129 clubs. Is there a video showing?
Yes.
Okay. We currently have 129 active clubs in good standing. Each club gets 2 votes, one for president, one for educational vice president. 129 times 2 is 258 possible votes. A quorum is declared if there are 1/3 of possible votes present. 1/3 of 258 is 74, I believe. 86. We currently have 116 registered district council votes. The second body is the District Executive Council, the DEC. Of 47 possible votes, which includes the directors and the administrative body who administer our district, Of the 47, 41 are registered. If you combine 41 votes for the district executive council, you have 147 possible votes. The simple majority is 74. I'm gonna get this right. Simple majority is 74. The day of record is Friday, April the 30th. Madam Director, I believe that we have achieved enough votes present for you to declare a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Credentials Chair, Randy
pleasure.
Ellington.
Thank you.
And Randy, is the slide that I'm sharing right now the latest? Because I know we had good clubs are coming back left and right. So I just wanted to make sure.
These are the clubs, those are the clubs that are in good standing as of Toastmasters International as of yesterday, 129.
Awesome. All right. Also, just one more point of clarification. The international director voting will happen in August, not today. I know everyone's really excited about it, but it's not going to happen today. Awesome. Thank you so much, Randy.
My
Moving
pleasure.
to the rules of order. We have recruited the best, most expensive, by the way, parliamentarian money can find. Our volunteer parliamentarian, all of it coming from District 4, which is across the bridge. And if you take BART, you know, that's another way to get there. But I would love to welcome Noemi, who is actually a very incredible and past district director of District 4. Noemi, can you please talk to us about the rules of order for today? You're on mute.
I will, Madam District Director. And that is right. I come with high fees in Toastmasters currency recognition. And thank you for that, Madam District Director. Fellow Toastmasters, as prescribed by Toastmasters International, District 57 conducts its business using Robert's Rules of Order. The use of parliamentary procedure comes down to three things. We consider one item at a time, the majority rules, and the minority has the right to be heard. Here's a summary of the rules listed on page 3 of your handout. And also there's a summary of it on the slides. 1, any new motions to come before the council had to be submitted to info@d57tm.org by 8 p.m. on April 15. Debate on one item will be limited to no more than 10 minutes. The chair may extend the time to ensure fairness and completeness. In a virtual meeting, a member must type in the chat if they wish to be recognized by the chair using the directions that were given earlier today during the orientation. During discussion, the maker of the motion will be given the opportunity to speak first. All speakers will be limited to 1 minute each time they have the floor. No member who has already spoken once on an issue will be allowed to speak a second time until all who wish to speak have spoken a first time. You must state the name of your club or the area or division that you are representing when you indicate in the chat that you want to speak on an issue that has been addressed if you have properly renamed yourself with your name, your role, and your club, or the role that you have on the DECM. And as a reminder, pre-registration gave you credentials. Only district council members who pre-registered may participate in the meeting. That means club presidents, VPEs, and voting members of the district executive committee. Participation includes voting, asking questions, participating in discussion, or making motions. Before addressing the assembly, please wait to be recognized by the district director. You may type your question into the chat box so that we can address it. When doing this, please state your name and the club that you represent. Let's have a great meeting. Back to you, Madam District Director.
Thank you so much, Noemi, I really appreciate that. And you have done such a good job of putting all this together. With no objection, the meeting rules will be adopted as written on the handout. Are there any questions or discussion? Please chat in the chat box your name and question, and we will wait to be recognized. Seeing no objection, the meeting rules are adopted. Next point of order is to adopt the agenda. The full agenda has been posted on District 57 website for about a month, and the summary will now appear in the slide. Without objection, the agenda will be adopted as shown. Are there any questions or discussion? Please type your name and question in the comment and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objection, the agenda is now adopted. And now it is time to talk about the minutes from the last district council meeting, which, if you remember, was on September 14th, 2020. And I will now recognize the president and my president of Oakland City Center Toastmasters, Rebecca Fernandez, who is the committee chair for the minutes committee. I bet you didn't even know there was a minutes committee. Rebecca, please welcome and tell us about your report.
I'm not sure if I knew there was a minutes committee, but I'm glad to be part of it. So the report out is that the committee met to review the meeting minutes of the fall district council meeting on, and I don't remember the date, but the committee did find that the minutes presented represent the activities and orders of business presented on September 14th, 2020. And that is my report. Back to you, Madam District Director.
Rebecca, thank you so much. And thank you for being recruited into a committee that you didn't even know existed before you were recruited. I would like to now appoint Area Director Jeffrey Young to be the committee chair for the next time that we have this report. Jeffrey and I have already spoken and he's accepted, so he doesn't need to say anything right now. But Jeffrey, did you know that there was a committee for minutes before I asked you?
Not exactly, but I accept.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you, Jeffrey. And now we will go to the finance manager report. Linda Patton has been doing an amazing job, by the way. And that was like flavor. But Linda, please give us your finance manager report for District 57.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to be the district finance manager. And I have to be honest, it's been a very interesting year. We established this year district bucks, and that has been a challenge and a blessing both. But let's look at what the numbers say to us. Right now, our district revenue is greater than budget, and yet we feel we're behind in the number of renewals and new members and this kind of thing that have happened. Again, Toastmasters budgets based on last year, so 1920. So we are ahead of where we were expected to be. District expenses, as you can see, we are way behind. And part of the reason for that is that the clubs have not submitted all of their district bucks reimbursements yet. We're waiting on those, and I'm sure that the numbers will become closer to what we actually budgeted. Next slide. We only have one revenue stream, and that's membership. And as you can see, we are $2,636.31 ahead of what was budgeted by Toastmasters. We don't actually budget the membership revenue. They take a portion, they take a percentage of what we did the year before, and that's what our budget is. So the fact that we've got more says we've got more clubs coming in, new clubs that are chartered and that kind of thing. And I'm really excited about where we're sitting right now, because it means that there'll be more money next year for us to spend as well. Next. As you can see from the profit and loss statement, we are considerably below what we budgeted. Now, there are several items here that will probably never be used, which is the travel expense, lodging expense, both of which we had to budget, even though we were pretty sure that our trio were not going anywhere this year. As well as meal expenses. Again, we thought that we might be traveling in the spring, and obviously we haven't. So at this point, that money has not been used. Administration is spot on, and there are some areas that really need to have clubs spend their district bucks so that we can really have a more balanced budget by June 30th. Next. As you can see, we have a total available funds of $54,919.18. And as I said before, this really helps us with next year's budget. Thank you, Madam District Director.
Thank you so much, Linda. It has been a really interesting year. And now for something not interesting, hopefully, I would like to call our Audit Committee Chair, Danielle Weiss-Smith, to give us her Audit Committee report. Danielle.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, we performed our mid-year audit on January 30th and again on February 6th. And I have to put a shout out to the wonderful committee members that I was privileged to work with, Sarah May, Ian Marsh, and Gagan Berkar. Could not be done without them, and it could not have been done via Zoom without the great help from both Bet and Linda. Per our audit committee guidelines, we examined all the records from July 1st through December 30th for accuracy, appropriateness, proper internal control, and authorization. And in our opinion, the records present the financial position of the district fairly and are in conformity with the requirements of Toastmasters International. So all the materials of the audit were delivered to TI World headquarters on February 8th per their requirements. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for both the Audit Committee or the Finance Manager? If you have questions, please put your name, club name in the chat, and we wait to recognize you. All right, seeing no questions, we shall move on. Now we're going to talk about voting procedure. It's good to have a plan A and a plan B. So Wing, please tell us about the voting procedure today. And I will let you share your slides if you have something there. And I know Wing is very busy typing things into the chat right now, so I'll let him have a moment. So Wing Lock, are you ready? We can't see you. There you go. We can't hear you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests watching on YouTube. This is going to be a quick tutorial, hopefully, on how to vote in District 57 business meeting using Election Runner. I am going to be answering some Q&A at the very end if your questions had not been answered during the duration of this particular presentation. To those of you who have registered in the business meeting, you should also receive an email last night on April 30th from Ed Cullen around 7:33 p.m. with this particular document. Please take a closer look if you have not have it. And I'll explain specifically how and where, if you haven't seen the chat box, on some of the information I already pasted in there already. And I'll answer some of the questions that's been in there in the chat already, if they had not been answered. To those of you who have, apologies, to those of you who have gotten your ballot, and on this call, congratulations, you have done 1.5 things that are already needed to do the 3 things to the vote. You have registered, you've gotten the link, you've gotten information in your email perhaps. It may be in your spam mailbox, and for Gmail, maybe under a different tab. And finding that email and click one magical button, and a few more clicks away, you should be able to vote in the District 57 business meeting. Once again, let's go through the specifically who are able to vote. My terminology is incorrect. It's District Executive Council. The voting members technically would be the trio, the district director, program quality director, and the club growth director. The area director, the division directors, but most importantly, the various club president and vice president of education and clubs in good standing in District 57 Toastmasters. And due to the rules of the virtual district business meeting, no proxies allowed, and we hope that you are able to review the business meeting packet and you're able to take a closer look at some of the information that's been provided. If you haven't, please take a look at the chat box. As mentioned earlier, the quorum is required to conduct business, and thanks to the good work by Randy Ellington, the credentials share quorum has been reached. Now, I can talk a little bit about that hopefully at the end in regards to whether you're getting a ballot or not, at what point. Items typically voted upon today, you'll be voting upon the realignment of District 57 proposal for 2020 and 2021-2022. In contested election will also elect position, therefore elected district officials, DD, the PQD, the CGD, and the division director as well. Since we're meeting virtually, we'll also be voting electronically this year. So what is going to be happening is that within a 5 to 7 minute window, after the discussion is completed, Bet will instruct that you vote using the election runner interface and the ballot that you have received of those who have received it. But please do not vote until instructed, until we finalize the slate and the proposed realignment before you cast your vote. Thank you. What exactly you're going to be looking for? You're looking for the email address that you use to register for the business meeting to conduct the Toastmaster business. You may need to check your spam mailbox. Look for a specific email with the from column, District 57 Toastmasters, via no reply at electionrunner.com with the subject, your invitation to vote in the election column, approval of District 57 alignment for 2021-2022, vote when instructed. We talked about that a little bit earlier, is that as a district officer, including the trio, the district director, area directors, they have an extra vote on ballot. And if you're one of those and you're registered yesterday, please look for those additional emails for your additional vote. But again, no one's allowed more than 3 votes if they're in that position. Or if you are a club officer, the club president, or club vice president of education. What it may look like I talked about before, that if your Gmail is configured this way, it may show up under update, looking something like this. From District 57 Toastmasters, your invitation to vote, etc., just no test. In Yahoo, in your desktop mode, very similarly, District 57 Toastmasters, your invitation to vote. On your smartphone, it may look something like this. From District 57 Toastmaster, your invitation to vote in the election, etc., etc. After you open that email, whether it be this is under a desktop mode, you scroll down, it looks something like this. You'll see voter ID, voter key, and then a blue button, click here to vote. For the Gmail app on smartphone, you'll be seeing something very similar with the complete subject line and the email invitation to vote, very similarly with the voter ID and the key. This is what it looks like using the iPhone Mail app. I'm pretty sure it is pretty similar under the Android OS. What you need to do is to find that email and see that click here to vote button, and you click on it. This is under the Gmail app. This is under the iPhone Mail interface. After hitting that blue click here to vote button, you will redirect to your unique e-ballot at election runner website by your default web browser. So don't be startled when you jump to somewhere else. That's the way it's exactly supposed to be. And if you're accessing your vote using that interface, you should be seeing that under, you should not have to put in your voter ID or your voter key. But if you happen to have election runner ask for your voter ID or voter key, please revisit the email that you I just mentioned from District 57 Toastmasters via no-reply@electionrunner.com and hit that blue button again. And in rare cases, you may need to do copy and pasting or just good old-fashioned use a piece of paper and write down the information and enter it in. And I have not encountered that situation unless some boo-boo happened. This is what happened after you hit that blue button. You'll be going to your default web browser. On the left is shown using a smartphone, using the Chrome, but whichever default web browser. And on the right, you're using a desktop version, you'll be using whichever default web browser, be it, going into vote.electionrunner.com. And you'll be something very similar to this. If you scroll down, you'll see the submit ballot button with the terms, the specific items that you're, the specific election that you're asked to make your decision and cast your vote. There's also the green check mark and big old X has been added to the ballot. So it is very similar to what it looks like. What you need to do is to make your choice and click that button. But please, right now, at this moment in time, as we have not talked about the realignment, please do not vote until BET instructs you to vote. After that, you have an extra chance to change your choice. You can click cancel to change your choice, or just click yes to confirm your vote. And you'll be able to get a receipt if you want to. It's going to come in as an image. On the left is a smartphone, and on the right shown is on a desktop browser. You can just click that button to get your receipt. These are some of the most common questions and answers, and I did not unfortunately get this particular one. So let me just jump right out from the credentials chair. If you had not registered with the district at the cutoff time, you are not being calculated to reach a quorum. And since we reach a quorum, we technically, we're glad that you're here today, but you will not receive a ballot to vote for District 57 Toastmasters, the election items, as I can understand it. We are also unable to change your vote. And since you're provided a chance to vote, you should have all the chances that for you to change if you want to change your mind. And it also, election runner does not provide that option for changing your vote. I'll be looking for help to observe the back end, and I'll be asking to open a breakout room as soon as technically feasible to do so. And I'll invite selected members from the District Executive Council to observe the back end. We'll announce the result as soon as possible when the majority vote has been achieved. And since the servers of election runner is in a central time zone, so when BET asks you to vote, please do not wait and cast your vote. And as far as I can understand, I am seeing my email saying that the election started, and I'm seeing the people responding saying that they have received their vote on the email. So there won't be a plan B, but there was. I will try to entertain if there's additional questions, but let me see in my head specifically what else have not been answered. Once again, you might want to check your spam mailbox from the email address that you use to register for the business meeting. We match your names to the list of clubs in good standing to make sure that you're eligible to vote. But if you had not registered at the cutoff time that was announced for registering for this particular business meeting, you are unable to vote, and there's no ballot to be sent out for you. That's the information that I've gotten from the credentials chair. I would to try to take a look at the chat box and see if there's anything else, but let me stop my audio and see if there's anyone who wishes to ask a question. Or Bet, if you can direct some of the if you're seeing some comments that I have some questions that I have not addressed. Thank you.
I think there's some one-off specifics that people have a problem with. And I think if you did not receive your ballot for some reason, please just direct message Wing and he can just maybe send it to another email or find another way. And worst comes to worst, you can tell Wing your vote and we can add it manually to the sum. This is what we did last year. Sometimes people were just texting us their votes. So you know, the system is good for a mass and most people it's going to work. And then if you really can't figure out how to do it, we can find a way to directly help you. But please message Wing directly, as that's going to be the best way to get your ballot.
Thank you. And unfortunately, that if you use some email that may be actively blocking out some emails, yeah, please absolutely look for the no reply at electionrunner.com. It may end up in the spam mail. For Gmail, it may go under a different tab, but you may want to explore some of the nooks and crannies or emails that may come in that will redirect because it is something not familiar. But please do take a look at that. The how to vote, this particular presentation is also been sent to all the registered voters at 7:33 p.m. by Ed Cullen. So you should be also seeing, you should also have this particular email in that, or there's something particularly wrong with the email that does not receive information that's sent to you in regards to this election. I'll try to catch up on the chat, and I'll see if Bet has additional questions that I should answer right at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's just the one-offs. Or just a reminder, we cut off voting registration at 4 p.m. yesterday so that we could do all the number crunching and verify club was in good standing, the member was in good standing. All of those things happened starting yesterday at 4 p.m. So if you registered at 5 p.m. or at 5 a.m., then you are not going to have a vote. So that is unfortunately how it is. If you know you've registered before 4 p.m. yesterday and you still don't have a ballot, please directly message Wing and we will get you a ballot and or collect your vote in some other manual way. All right, Wing, thank you very much. All right, and now moving on to new business. The next order of new business is District 57 realignment for 2021-2022, which will start on the beginning of July 1st, 2021. Before I start, I want to share that this was a very tedious process, which took countless hours of work, which has been devoted by our committee to put together this realignment. And we are very grateful to the committee for their work. The results were presented and accepted at the District Executive Committee on April 3rd. The district members were also given an opportunity to view this proposal of the realignment and ask questions during our District 57 Town Hall, which took place on April 13th, 2021. The proposed realignment was then published on the district website for all of our members to review. The realignment is presented as presented. Please note that the realignment does not affect the day-to-day operations of your club. Instead, it is focused on assuring a more balanced area and division. There are some proposed amendments. If there are any proposed amendments, we will discuss those. You were emailed the realignment along with the package. And all of this has been on the website. Now I would like to recommend or recognize the committee chair, distinguished Toastmaster and past district director, Diane Ployce, to present the realignment.
Thank you very much, Bet. If you would pull up the slides, I would appreciate it. In looking at all of this, I think that I am very happy that Bet asked me to chair this committee because it was something that we could do in advance. Many of the slides, or actually all of the slides, should be familiar to you because they were presented at the March and April DEC meetings and at the town hall. I do want to acknowledge and thank the committee members that worked very hard on this with me, Terry Bedreau, Todd Henry, and Steve Today. In looking at this, let's look at our strategy for how we approach this. And Bet, if you would advance to the next slide, please. We looked at it from a very practical, common sense point of view. We started off by first deleting the clubs that were not continuing, and then adding the new clubs that were formed throughout the year. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, as Bet mentioned, this realignment starts July 1st. So nothing happens from now to the end of the year as far as realignment of clubs, but we could have a club or two still start. So there could be some changes still to the 30th until June 30th when it's submitted to Toastmasters International. We looked at it and we said we want to have equitable areas within our division. And we wanted to have an appropriate mix of clubs, community, corporate, time of day, etc. We also had, and if you would continue, go to the next slide, Bet. This is, as mentioned, a snapshot in time. So some things could change before the June 30th finalization of it. Certainly, COVID has affected many clubs. Some, it's been a fortunate thing, such as Leaders Worldwide has thrived. And for other clubs, it's made it more challenging. We used an interactive map that George Marshall put together, and we thank him for that. It certainly helped. And we have spent quite a bit of time going through this. And if you would continue going to the next slide, please. There are considerations from Toastmasters International as far as number of areas per division. We have 9 divisions in our district. And all of this is pretty standard. If you would go to the next slide, then please, Bet. What is important is this slide and the next one are new, and I think this is absolutely terrific and groundbreaking, is because of some of the challenges worldwide because of the pandemic. Toastmasters International is allowing an additional 6 months for clubs to return to good standing. So that is a major benefit and allows us some, if you will, wiggle room or time to work through some of these things. And if you'll go to the next slide, it gives a little more detail on that. Oops, there we go. So this gives some of the specifics as far as dates and what is required as far as the reinstatement. Please note that if a club needs to be reinstated, they have the 2 options. They can either pay a reinstatement fee that has been reduced to $100, and prior to that, it had $720. So obviously we did not have many clubs being reinstated, or that the dues for all the members could be paid for that inactive period. So much more welcoming approach, and very happy to be able to present and talk about this. Then the next slide simply go into the division by division and area by area. I'm going to cover the highlights because, again, this has been posted for quite a while and hopefully should look familiar. We took each area and we looked at what clubs did we add, what clubs did we lose, and that net effect. In Division B, we did move 1 club from one area to another, and we had that in another division as well. And we recognize that it's not ideal. And when you're a club, you don't necessarily like to be moved and you're kind of comfortable where you are. But we appreciate that the clubs looked at it with a broader viewpoint and said, okay, we get it. We understand for parity and for balance with the area directors so that they can be successful, we're okay with it. So we greatly appreciate that overarching willingness to work through this for the betterment of the areas and the divisions. If we'll go to the next slide, we'll have divisions C and D. And what's, I don't know if there's anything really noteworthy in these clubs, you can, or these divisions, you can again see what clubs we lost and some of the 7 clubs that we gained. And you'll notice that we try to have ideally 4 to 5 clubs per area. And that's where occasionally we had to make some changes. The next slide with E and F, again, not a lot of changes here, fairly simple. I'm happy to report. If we go to the next slide, G, with areas G10 and G11, the recommendation came from the division director that we combine those 2 areas, and G10 and 11 are in the far north area of our district. So they're up in that Eureka area. And it made a great deal of sense. It will make for 6 clubs. So the recommendation then is to have an assistant director. And Division H is just on autopilot continuing. If we go to the next slide with Division I, the recommendation from Kate, the division director there, was to basically take the 4 areas and combine them into 3 areas. So we will be, the recommendation is to close area 33. We lost Lamb Research and we reallocated the 3 remaining clubs again for parity. Those are the recommendations for the alignment committee. As stated, we try to take in lots of considerations. We did spend a fair amount of time. We worked closely with the division directors on this for their input. We did have the town hall for the full hour soliciting info so that hopefully we could feel good about this and present it for today. So with that, I turn it back to you, Bet.
Thank you, Diane. And I would like to just restate that this realignment will take effect on July 1st, 2021. So if you're currently the Area 33 area director, you may think to yourself, what about my area? But actually, this change will not happen until July 1st, 2021. So there is no change to the current set until that date. The committee has presented this as full, and I want to thank Diane for putting all this hard work together. It has been moved that we accept the District 57 realignment as shown. Because it was moved by a committee, it does not need a second. The amendment realignment, or the as shown realignment, was emailed to you in the packet and has been posted on District 57 since April 1st. Are there any questions or discussion? Please type your name and questions in the comment and wait to be recognized. As a reminder, the discussion is limited to a total of 10 minutes. A maximum of each voting member will have is 1 minute. So let us see if there's any questions. Noemi, our chat monitor, do you see any questions?
No, I do not.
We'll give it another 30 seconds. And we did have such a fun town hall. There was a lot of good discussion and a lot of questions, and I think that really helped everyone understand the realignment and how it was working. All right, seeing no more questions, thank you so much, Diane. For this vote, we'll be using our voting platform, Election Runner. Please access your email from District 57 now. Only district council members who have pre-registered by 4 p.m. yesterday have these emails. Please log into your special code. Remember that you need to use your password and passcode for everyone. It's a unique code for just you. Please vote now. I know people were asking me, when do I vote? When do I vote? Everyone's very excited about voting, and now is the moment that you've been waiting for to vote. Kathleen, you are ready to vote right now. We need to be very clear. We are ready to vote. I hope everyone is voting. I'm actually going to go and vote also.
That I'm going to do the share screen of the presentation again to scroll it through so that folks are able to take a look and familiarize themselves with the process again if they haven't seen it, if they missed it.
That would be great, Wing. Everyone vote. Kate Mills has a bunch of question marks. It's time to vote, Kate. All right, I am now looking at the voting screen myself. There is a vote right now for realignment, Mark. The vote is happening correct right now. I think it'd be fun if after you vote, you can put in the chat you voted. So we are taking about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to let everyone vote. All right, whoa. Voting is really happening. Wow, I can download a receipt to show that I voted. I'm going to do this. Save as. All right, it looks like people are voting.
I'm seeing votes, but also just want to make sure that the expectation that we are getting updates every 5 minutes or so. So if you can make it within the 5-minute mark, then your vote will be shown here. And we can, sooner that we finish this balloting, the better it is.
Yeah, and if you have any issues with voting, please just direct message Wing, so we can make sure that we get your item addressed versus putting it in the general chat. All right, Wing, should we continue as we're waiting? Okay, let's go ahead and.
Once again, the instructions to vote was also sent by Ed Cullen at 7:33 last night in the email that you used to register for the business meeting. So it should be there. I'm not sure if there's a way to email under Zoom using this particular session. I can, let me see, can I send? No, I cannot. But that was an email that was sent with the instructions on that. And I can try to see what walk you through with the chat box if you're unable to do so. Thank you.
All right, and just a reminder, if someone maybe was hiding under a rock for a moment there, we are voting right now for the realignment. The realignment is happening right now. Your vote is still being counted. It looks like everyone who's having an issue is now finding their ballot, I believe. So wonderful, wonderful. Please continue to vote. And while you're voting, I'm going to go ahead and move forward into the next phase of the meeting, which is the DLC. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. And I would like to welcome my immediate past district director, my mentor, Kevin Markle, who will present the DLC, which stands for District Leadership Council or Committee. And there's so many times I want to add DLC committee, but actually that's a redundancy. So Kevin, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
All right, let's do it.
Thank you so much, District Director and Distinguished Toastmaster Bette Bullhofer. My committee, the District Leadership Committee, met regularly, starting really in December, to interview, evaluate, and nominate candidates for district leadership for the upcoming term beginning July 1st. We had lots of fantastic members who served on the District Leadership Committee this year, and I would like to recognize them because they did such a fantastic job. I'd like to recognize Distinguished Toastmaster Trish Johnson, Distinguished Toastmaster Randy Ellington, Jay Ligda, Distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh Yakali, Ashley Harkness, Dave Blum, Lisa Fairchild, and Venkat Raman. What a fantastic team I had to really pull together an excellent slate of candidates for district leadership. They reached out to current area directors, past area directors, chairs, people that they knew that were really being successful in roles in their club. We really cast a wide net. And I'm so excited to announce the result of the deliberations of the District Leadership Committee and the nominations that we have recommended as a group. For District Director, George Marshall. For Program Quality Director, Carolyn Douglas. For Division A Director, Teresa Smith. For Division B Director, Joanne Bradley. For Division C Director, Elliot Rogers. For Division D Director, Tong Yin. For Division F Director, Winnie Ma. For Division G Director, Mark Salcido. For Division H Director, Lisa Ash. For Division I Director, Sherry Sue. And I do want to give a final note, Bette, as I kind of conclude my report. This is such a fantastic time to be getting involved in district leadership going to next year. I'm so excited for clubs going back to in-meeting, clubs doing hybrid meetings, clubs still doing online meetings because that's what they enjoy. It's going to be a fantastic time of growth, of great learning opportunities for all our members. So I really encourage all members of the district council to consider serving as an area director or a chair in the year ahead. I think it's going to be an incredible opportunity for you to learn so much and to develop and grow as a communicator, as a leader, right? Because you want to be able to find your voice and make a difference by participating at the district level. If you'd like to get involved in those roles, please send me an email, kevin@d57tm.org, or contact whoever the district director-elect is to get involved. District Director Bette Bullhofer, that concludes my report on behalf of the District Leadership Committee.
Thank you, Kevin. Per Toastmaster guidelines, nominations from the floor are not allowed during this meeting this year. Eligible floor candidates had to declare their intention to run in writing to the DLC chair at least 1 week prior to this meeting. All further nominations are closed at this time. For uncontested elections, We can save time and instruct our administrative manager to cast a single ballot for that candidate. Without objection, the chair will dispense with a secret ballot and instruct the administrative manager to cast a single ballot for all candidates in uncontested elections. Are there any objections? Please type your name and objection in the chat and wait to be recognized. Noemi, do you see any objections?
I do not.
Hearing no objection, we'll dispense with the secret ballot and the administration manager will cast one single ballot for all uncontested officers. Elections. Mona, please confirm that you have submitted this ballot. Thank you, Mona. Go ahead.
Madam District Director, there, Cynthia Stott from President Leaders Worldwide had a question that came right as we were moving on.
Okay. Cynthia, do you have an objection? Because we haven't moved to discussion yet.
Well, I have an objection that there's no club growth director. I was told that we had candidates.
We were going to get to that in a moment. Right now, we are just discussing to dispense with the secret ballot and cast one single ballot for all uncontested elections.
And there's nothing for Division E as well.
Yes, we will be moving to that next.
Okay.
Thank you for paying attention, Cynthia. You get a gold star. All right. Do we have any objections to dispensing with the secret ballot and having the administrative manager cast one single ballot for all uncontested elections? Noemi, do we have any objections?
We do not.
Moving ahead, we will now discuss the election for, actually, I think we need to get results. I heard that we just got the results from the district realignment. Wing, will you please come online and talk to us about the results of the election?
My apologies, my window has been buried. I was not able to see the results. At this moment, because unfortunately election runner gathers information, present them every 5 minutes. The latest result that I've gotten shows that we have received well over simple majority. We received 112 votes. 99% cast yes to realignment. So the motion's passed. Madam District Director.
Thank you. Now moving forward with the elections. Hearing that there is no objection to the request to dispense with the secret ballot, we will actually move into the elections. For District Director, nomination by the District Leadership Committee is for District Director, Distinguished Toastmasters George Marshall. The District Administration Manager will please cast a single ballot for George Marshall as District Director. Your 2021-2022 District Director, Distinguished George Marshall. We will definitely celebrate. You can say, yeah, there you go. Thank you, George. Program Quality Director election. Nominated by the District Leadership Committee for Program Quality Director is Distinguished Toastmaster Carolyn Douglas. District Administration Manager, please cast a single ballot for Carolyn Douglas. Your 2021-2022 Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Carolyn Douglas. All right, Club Growth Director. Because there are no candidates nominated by the District Leadership Committee for the position of Club Growth Director, the requirements of Protocol 9.0 have not been met. the position is considered incomplete on the DLC report. However, qualified candidates may run from the floor if they declared their intention to run from the floor by the deadline of April 24th, 2021. One qualified candidate has in fact declared their intention to run from the floor for this position. I will now entertain a nomination from the floor for this very specific one person that has been vetted by the DLC. I would like to now recognize Steve Today, VP.
Good morning. Can
88.
you hear me?
Yes.
My name's Steve Today, Vice President of Education for Oakland 88. I nominate one of the most dedicated Toastmasters in District 57, Ed Cullen, who embodies the core values of respect, integrity, service, and excellence for the position of Club Growth Director in District 57.
Fellow Toastmasters, we have only one candidate nominated for Club Growth Director. District Administration Manager, please cast your single ballot for Ed Cullen. Your 2021-2022 Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Ed Cullen. Thank you, Ed, for stepping up to run and lead. And now we move into the division directors. As a reminder, the nominated candidates for division directors are listed on your handout. The nominations by the District Leadership Committee for the division directors are as follows: Teresa Smith, Joanne Bradley, Elliot Rogers, Tong Yin, Winnie Ma, Mark Scalcido, Lisa Ash, and Sherry Shu. Fellow Toastmasters, we only have one candidate nominated for each of the previous mentioned division director positions. District Admin Manager, please cast a single ballot for each nominated candidate for these uncontested division director elections. The following division directors have been elected for 2021-2022. And you can see their names on the screen. Congratulations to all 2021-22 elected officers. If you guys want to turn your cameras on and wave at everyone. Normally we'd be cheering for you in a big room. Yay! Awesome. And now we need to talk about Division E. Because there were no candidates nominated by the District Leadership Committee for the position of Division E Director, the requirements of Protocol 9.0 have not been met. The position is considered incomplete on the DLC report. However, qualified candidates may run from the floor if they declared their intent to run from the floor by the deadline of April 24, 2021. One candidate declared their intent to run from the floor for this position. I will now entertain a nomination for this said floored candidate. Drew, you may now be recognized by the chair. Drew Kaw, Area Director 23. I wonder if Drew got cold feet. All right. Does anyone see Drew online?
He's not in the participants list.
Kevin Markle is requesting to be recognized.
Kevin Markle, would you please turn on your camera and speak to us?
Hello, Kevin Markle, President of Prep Squad. I would like to nominate Drew Call to Division E Director. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And this candidate has been fully vetted, and therefore, because we only have one candidate nominated for Division E Director, I would like the District Administration Manager to now cast a single ballot for Drew Call. Your 2021-2022 Division E Director, Drew Call. And don't worry, Drew has been communicated with, and we're not nominating without him knowing about it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. I want to congratulate all the incoming officers. It is a life-changing position. Anything you're in, do the best you can and enjoy it, because it's going to end faster than you believe, and really, really enjoy the journey. This concludes our election, and we have already talked about a realignment. So now we are moving in. This concludes new business, and now we will continue with the district officer reports. The written reports are in your handout. I encourage you to read them. We invite now our top officer to speak for 45 minutes, and I will have Teresa be our timer. After each report, please ask any questions through the chat. Remember that in order to ask a question, you have to be a member of the district council. So please type your name, your role, and your question into the chat. All right, this is my turn to not have to read a script, thank goodness. So our goal was to find your voice and make a difference, and we did pretty well. A lot of members are using Zoom to celebrate achievement, build community, and that was amazing. I have seen so much fun Zoom meetings this year. We've had people join from all over the globe. I know my own home club, Oakland City Center, has people joining from Atlanta or Houston and Napa and all these other places because they're able to join on Zoom. It has really helped us celebrate achievement and build community. Now, the hard part of this year was doing this all with grace. And I added that doing it with grace part because if you win at the end of the year, whatever that means, but you are more stressed out, your hair is more gray, that is not winning. So you have to do it with grace. And how do you do it with grace? It means you plan ahead and you build a team. Now, when we look at the successful events that we've had this year, virtual TLI, the contests, 7 new clubs that we built, we can see that all of these required a team, amazing team. And George will be talking more about that incredible success later, and Julie also. We had so many bumps along the way, but we learned, and that is what we do as Toastmasters. So let's look, how did we do according to the dashboards? All right, so let's look. So paid clubs, now these are negative numbers. And when you think about how to measure success as far as negative numbers, sometimes in a normal year, that would seem extremely daunting. But actually, when we look across the entire globe, everyone has been negatively impacted by the pandemic. So these definitely look different. So let's look at how we did according to the rest of the world. We're number 59 out of 111 or 119 districts in the world. For paid clubs. For membership growth, we are number 29 in the world. And for distinguished clubs, we're number 35. Now remember, it's only May 1st, so we have plenty of time to push all these numbers up before the end of the year. But I personally think that we have done fantastic. I am very, very proud of us. In fact, if you look at our region, which is more of an accurate picture of people, similar situations and similar economic situations, we are number 1 and 2 in the region. And I think that is extremely, makes me extremely proud. But I am really not that much into the reports because we have just incredible things happening. And when I talk to the area directors and I go to DEC and I see things that are going on in our district, I am extremely proud of us. So I want to talk about why did we do so well? First of all, we put our budget in place early. Planning ahead, doing it with grace means doing things early. Putting the budget in place early meant that we actually were able to talk about incentives right away at TLI in July. We were able to talk about that. versus us trying to figure out what it is exactly that we want to do. Next up, we were able to roll out a new program called the District Bucks program, because our whole former way of running the district couldn't survive with the previous system. So we were able to innovate and digital transformation. And that was also very interesting, and we've learned a lot from that. Now, I want to talk about the big takeaway from this year. There's two kinds of people in the world. There's people who embrace change and ask themselves every day, what can I do today that I couldn't do before? These people are building new businesses. They're taking advantage at work to be a Zoom master or run digital workshops online. And they're embracing Toastmasters because it gives them the skills to meet their goals. If they want to get a promotion, even though there's a pandemic, they can use Toastmasters to be a VPE and learn how to run things. This is their opportunity for them. And there's a second kind of person, the person who hopes that all the change will just go away. And maybe it will, maybe the change will go away. But in the meantime, they're losing out on a lot of fun. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, I move to George Marshall. George Marshall, give us your program quality director report. How did you do this year?
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for that report. Next slide. The program quality is responsible primarily for education and training, quality of education, as well as training people for the various jobs. And it was a challenging year, as many of us have talked about. Next slide. The first thing we all encountered that was different was club officer training. This is the first online club officer training that our district has ever done. In fact, online club officer training in the past has only been done on a very selective case-by-case basis around the world. The thing I got to tell you, it was highly successful. And what do I mean by successful? First of all, we set records for attendance. District 57 records for attendance. Quite unusual. We got great feedback as well, so people appreciate what it did. So the ability for people to go get the training they needed for their officer position, whether it was the first time or another time, was absolutely great. Here's something interesting I want to point out about it. A typical year, we do 11 to 12 training events, 2 to 3 TLIs plus a makeup training per division, 11 or 12. This year, both for summer and winter, we did 2 TLIs and 3 division makeup. That's only 5 events. With only 5 as opposed to 12, we set records. So we had more than double the number of people coming to each event. Bottom line message here, online training works. It is really good. And I'm going to talk about the very end of this about all the people that went into making each of these events successful. Next slide, please, Beth. Train the Trainer happened next. Again, first online Train the Trainer course. A whole lot of things happened for the first time this year, and it went great. We had a record turnout for the course. We had a number of very good instructors, some returning, some new, and it was actually great. Let's go on to contests. Whoa, contests were held online. This is not the first time, because last year, remember, the pandemic slammed down on us in March. The team pivoted very, very quickly and came up with a way to run online contests. They did a great job. They pioneered a lot of techniques. We had some of the same folks back again helping us, and I think we did even better. So all the contest area and division were held online. The district contests were held 1 and 2 weeks ago, so that they could each have an evening just devoted to them without turning our district conference into a 12-hour ordeal, because online can be longer, unfortunately. And by the way, if you didn't make it to those contests, we're going to be showing both the evaluation and the international speech contest winners today during the main part of the conference. So don't miss that. Another slide, please. I can't even fit all the people on one slide. For TLI, for the club officer training, Lisa Fairchild was absolutely instrumental in making things happen. And Donica was right there the entire way, leading the way on the division makeup training. We pioneered new techniques in both of these cases. Ashley Harkness came through with Train the Trainer, put together a great team and made it all happen. Lindy Sinclair has been our Pathways Chair. Abe Masliak has taken on the job of managing, coordinating, and keeping track of all our awards and different recognition programs. And thanks to Chris Chockingham for being our Outstanding Achievement Toastmaster Chair. One more slide, please. And coming up to the current time, conference co-chairs Sharon Brown, Steve Millman, these folks came in on relatively short notice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And put together one heck of a conference. Later on, after the business meeting, we go into it, you will see that it's a great agenda with some fantastic speakers, topics we also want to hear about. And since it's sort of part of the contest, Wing Locke is contest chair. Hey, Wing. And Hans Tama as chief judge did an absolutely phenomenal business. And of course, this is not the names of all the people that made things happen, because each of the people you see on there recruited teams themselves to help make it work. So there's actually quite a large number of people, but we'd be here all day if we tried to list everyone. Let's talk briefly about educational achievements. PQD is both education and training. So let's admit it, we have fewer members in the district due to the pandemic. There's some clubs we've lost. There's some people that just couldn't cope with online training. There's some people that just had their attention pulled elsewhere because of the pandemic. But our folks that are here are working the educational program. They're taking advantage of what we've got, the limited need to travel and so forth. So we have set so far an all-time record of 31% of our members this year have earned at least one award. Mind you, that's higher than any year in our record, and we're still in May. We're still in May. We're going to blow this one out. So I want to congratulate everyone on working your goal. We joined Toastmasters for different goals: communicate better, learn English better, leadership skills, and sometimes you get to believe in fellowship as a good part of it. And finally, my final slide. We still have 2 months to go from now, May 1st until June 30th. So everyone in the club, and we have many club presidents and VP here, focus on getting your new members oriented. Our new members being oriented to Pathways has lagged a little bit. Don't waste time. As soon as someone joins, have someone sit down with them, go through the program. Some people love it. Some people need more explanation. It's a good program. And submit those goals. It's great to actually see them completed. So you know it's not enough to just mark them complete in base camp. Let the world know that you earned that award. And we're to the point where you can start electing your club officers. Why do it now? So it can have a smooth transition. Now that we have the results of the election, the new team can start working on things like club officer training dates. But go ahead and elect those officers so they can start shadowing the existing members in your club in order to get experience. And sit down with your teams and ask yourself, what does your club need to be distinguished? It's not just a recognition program, folks. If you're distinguished, that means you did a great job in all the areas that count in operational excellence in a club. So let's all finish off the year great, and look forward to working with you next year. Back to you, Bet.
Thank you, George. And now I'd like to call up our club growth director, Julie Garrett, to share her report. Welcome, Julie Garrett.
Thank you, Bet. I was going to start off by saying this has been a challenging year, but I think we've already heard that a couple times. I'm going to go with it's been an interesting year. A lot of hurdles to overcome, a lot of lessons to be learned. And I think we've done pretty well with that. And the interesting thing for me is to sit here and say this with a smile, is that we have only lost 18 clubs this year. For a club growth director, that's not an easy thing to say, but in these interesting times, It's actually pretty good. We've also gained 7 new clubs. And believe it or not, in membership, you would think with 18 club loss, we would really be hurting for members. But we've only lost 968 members this year. We can actually still make that up. That is a doable number that we could hit. Things are interesting. Anything could happen. And the things that have helped us to mitigate that loss, to lessen the impact of this year have been, you can give me the next slide, open houses. They have had so much more reach this year because we don't have to go with traditional borders. Our border is now the sky. Literally, we could have someone from the International Space Station as a member of our Toastmasters Club. I don't know why we don't yet, but we could. The other thing that has really worked for us this year is our club coaching program. We have been very successful in getting some of our struggling clubs to reaching their goals. But it's not just our club coaches, because as you know, club coaching is for clubs that are really struggling with 12 members or less. But this year we added a little something. We have the club ambassador for those clubs that are above that 12 mark that don't qualify for those coaches quite yet. We really don't want them to qualify for coaches. We want them to keep the positive momentum, but they still needed a little bit of help. So thanks to Bill Holsey and his club ambassador program, we've got some clubs that never made it down to qualifying for club coaches. They were able to turn things around before they got there. So open houses and club coaching, they're not the only things that have worked this year, but they are the top 2. And with that, I'd like to hand this back to Bet.
That was amazing. So I just want to give a little flavor because you didn't run out of time, Julie, is that other district directors and club growth directors are asking, how are you starting so many clubs? And the reason why we were able to do that is because we have so many innovative people. Like I just, if I pick any of them, it's going to not be fair to everyone, but I am so inspired by the energy and the power of the people who came up with club ideas. Leaders worldwide. Oh, I said one, sorry. These are people who said, what can we do today that we couldn't do before? We could never have even, I know we could have, but we hadn't thought about it. Could we have a Toastmasters club for people across the entire globe? I'm going to ask, I know we have a little bit of time. Cynthia, Michelle, Linda, just come on and tell me how many countries we have in Leaders Worldwide. I see Linda first, but Michelle and Cynthia, you guys can be here. How many countries represent in Leaders Worldwide?
35 countries and 16 states.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You ladies innovated, and that is what I am so proud of. Our district wasn't held back by a pandemic. We said, what can we do now we couldn't do before? So I am super inspired by everybody. Thank you ladies so much. And now I'm going to go on to the public relations because that is also a critical thing. And it's a very interesting year. Social media is more important than ever. So I'm going to ask Ed Cullen, our current public relations manager and incoming club growth director, please tell us about your report.
Next slide, please. 6 months ago, I talked about what we didn't have and strategies to get us where we needed to go, to let the world know. We were used to meeting in public, congregating, having a great time. That wasn't going to happen. I had a number of initiatives, some of which I had to lay on the table because we had more important things to do. But next slide. The things that didn't change haven't changed for over 90 years. By working with the core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence, we have built new clubs and led all clubs to excellence. We positioned ourselves to be the first choice provider for a dynamic, high-value experimental communication leadership skills training. How did we do that? By putting an awful lot of email in your email box, by working with social media, by bombarding you, actually. It has been my exquisite pleasure to work with Julie Garrett, a man that a year ago at the business meeting I called an international treasure, George Marshall, and the best district director, not just in Region 1, but in any region on the planet, Bet Bohlhofer. It has been a fabulous year of letting the world know. And you've heard that our TLI team, led by Lisa Fairchild, was fabulous. You might have thought there was an email in your email box every other day, and you would have been correct. The crazy pattern to make this the best conference ever, led by Steve Melman and Sharon Brown. Again, email after email, Facebook post after Facebook post, LinkedIn post after LinkedIn post. We have let the world know about those wonderful things here in District 57. But the year's not over. Club presidents and vice presidents and area directors, go back to your individual clubs, find out what your individual members are doing to fulfill their own personal communication and leadership goals. And then we can tell everyone, we can let the world know. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Ed, thank you so much. We need to talk about this picture.
Oh, you should have forwarded, I'm sorry, you should have forwarded my third slide, but that's okay.
All right, that's very lovely. Thank you so much, Ed. You innovated, you did incredible. I'm super proud of you. And we don't have any special reports. The announcement that we have is that we have an incredible conference coming up. In just a few minutes, we are going to have Dan Rex, our president, or not the club president, not the president of an area that's not a thing. It's the CEO, actually the CEO of our entire Toastmasters International. He is the CEO at World Headquarters. And if you have not had a chance to hear him speak, you really, really need to join the conference. So I am going to go ahead and close the meeting. I hope to see everybody at the conference where we will be having an incredible time. And with that, we officially close, if there's no objection, the District 57 Council meeting stands adjourned. See you all at the conference.
Woo! See you on the outside. Congratulations, everyone.
Yay.